Welcome to the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar. If you're eager to gain clarity, speak with unwavering confidence, and liberate those inner voices, you're in the perfect spot. My mission here is to empower you to break free, find fulfillment, and ignite your passion. You ready? It's time to say it out loud. I've put together a guide of my top 10 tested and proven to work practical strategies and habits to help bright women like you say no, set your boundaries right, live confidently, and build healthy relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. This is a self-paced guide, and I can't wait for you to dig into it so you can start becoming your most confident self, because she's in there waiting for you. Head to the link in my show notes or go to vasavikumar.com/guide and grab it today. Hello and welcome to the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar, former therapist, now turned on-camera confidence and content creation coach, and a first-generation Indian immigrant woman on a relentless mission to bring you simple and tangible actions and advice to help you step up your life and business. Get ready for unfiltered and unscripted conversations with some of the brightest and realest people I know in mental and emotional health, marketing, and business to help you get out of your head and get moving. And now it's time for another episode of the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. So remember when we were kids and our parents would tell us, or most of our parents would tell us, don't talk to strangers. Oh, don't talk to that person, or, just kind of stay under the radar. Don't rock the boat. So remember that? Yeah. Well, listening to that advice is directly impacting your confidence in every area of your life. And it's also especially impacting your camera confidence. So today I want to get into how being camera confident directly impacts your ability to connect with humans in every area of your life and grow your business. But actually, it's backwards. Okay, so today on the Being Human with Vasavi podcast, it's me, Vasavi. I want to talk to you about how being able to talk to human beings in every area of your life, being able to talk to anyone about anything, has a direct impact on how you show up on camera, right? So your ability to connect with humans in every area of your life has an astounding effect on your ability to be camera confident. Most people have it backwards. They think being confident on camera has to do with lighting, hair, makeup, or they're concerned with what strangers or family and friends will think. But I love this quote. I don't know who said it, but I'm going to say it. Wherever you go, there you are. Okay? So if these are your concerns when you step outside your front door and you worry about what people are going to think, whether you're at Target, whether you're at Starbucks, whether you're at your favorite restaurant, when you're just out and about, when you walk into a room and you barely know anyone, if you're constantly concerned with what people think about you, not on camera, don't you think it's going to affect with how you show up on camera? So if these are your concerns and you worry about when the camera, and this is what you worry about when the camera isn't rolling, then guess what? Of course, you're going to not show up as the real you. So let me ask you a question. How do you talk to people? From people who can't do anything for you, to the person who serves you at the restaurant, to your family, to your friends, to yourself, people on the internet, strangers, people at the car wash. Are you afraid of people? And you may be like, Vasavi, that's a really weird question. What do you mean, are you afraid of people? Well, think about it. From a very young age, especially if you grew up in a family where it was like, don't talk to anyone about our business, keep everything hush-hush, no matter what's going on behind closed doors, don't let anybody know what's going on. You were taught from a young age to lie. You were taught from a young age to wear a mask. And so now you're an adult running a business, wanting to get on camera, connecting with your audience, and all of the things that you were trained to be and do are now affecting you. So if you were taught to not talk about your feelings, if you were taught to pretend like everything is okay, then of course you're going to do that on camera. It's going to be hard for you to be real on camera because you were taught to not be real. You were taught to be fake. You were taught to wear a mask. You were taught to pretend like everything's okay, even when it's not. And if you're doing that with yourself now, in the privacy of your own home, in the confines of your own soul contract that you have with yourself, you best believe that is going to affect and impact your confidence when it comes to showing up on camera, right? If you can't be real with the people closest to you, right? If you can outright lie to yourself and others, then yes, you're going to have a real problem getting on camera confidently. Now, I would like to thank my recovery and my sobriety for really helping me become rigorously honest, no matter what I'm going through in my life. Now, I don't share all my shit with every single person. I'll probably have one or two people that I feel so safe with that I can tell them what's really going on. But just even having that one or two people that I can talk to and completely take my mask off has definitely exponentially helped my camera confidence. And even if those two people, right, that I usually talk to about things, even if they're not accessible to me in that moment because they're busy, the fact that I cannot lie to myself about how I'm feeling directly impacts my confidence in showing up on camera. So don't get me wrong. Plenty of people get on camera and lie. That's what I used to do. When I was in my cocaine addiction, I would be telling people to live their best lives. I would be getting on camera. I was being interviewed on podcasts. I was on TV, but I had a cocaine problem. So I was able to manage both lives. I was able to manage my closet addiction. I was also able to manage a very outward, front-facing persona where people really thought I had my shit together. But I also know what it's like to be me on camera, completely honest with myself, which is probably why I so openly share what I've gone through and what I go through. Now, I've had to learn how to have boundaries. I've had to learn how to forgive myself. I've had to learn the difference between oversharing and having privacy and having boundaries. Not everyone gets access to my life. Okay, but I will say this. If I had to choose being one person on camera and being another person behind closed doors, and so between that and just being myself and being real and being self-expressed on camera and behind closed doors when the cameras aren't rolling and practicing that rigorous honesty with myself, the latter feels way better. You don't get off camera feeling like an imposter when you know that you're practicing authentic self-expression in every area of your life. Now, am I saying that you tell everyone every little feeling of yours? No, it starts with rigorous honesty. Okay. It starts with being honest with yourself when nobody is watching. Okay. And then from there, really feeling good about the fact that you're being honest with yourself, right? Because this is the part that most people don't want to deal with. They don't want to deal with confronting themselves. It's easier to lie to ourselves, we think, because then we don't have to deal with the problem. Once we deal with the problem, then we're going to, or once we're honest with ourselves, then guess what? Oh shit, now I got to do something about it. So most people are blissfully ignorant because there is bliss in not having to deal with our problems, is what we think. And it's a little bit more painful to be honest with ourselves and being like, shit, but let me tell you something. When you unburden yourself from the secrets that you're keeping, when you unburden yourself and you have the courage to look at yourself, like literally look at every single way in which you show up, in which you limit yourself, in your judgments of others, judgments of yourself, and you are honest and you take 100% personal responsibility for you, your challenges, your obstacles, your problems, and you also deem yourself as the solution and the creator of your solutions, you start to get your power back. You start to generate that self-esteem and that confidence from within. Now, I started off this podcast by saying that your ability to be able to talk to anyone about anything directly impacts how you show up on camera. So I'm going to take you on a little journey with me and how I talk to everyone about anything, or how I can talk to anyone about anything. So real life examples here. When I'm at the grocery store, I'll always ask my cashier or the woman checking out my groceries and checking me out, how are you doing? I'll strike up a conversation with her. When I'm at the car wash, I'll always talk to the guy who's washing my car, or I know the two owners of the car wash, and I also know the sales guy who sold me my annual membership. I'll talk to them. I'll ask them how they're doing, right? I just talk to anyone about anything. Your ability to be able to talk to anyone about anything without putting on a front And when they can't do shit for you, and when I say that, I'm being for real here. There are people who will kiss the asses of others if they think they can get something out of that relationship, and they treat the people who can't do anything for them like shit. And that is not what I'm about. And that is not how you become confident. And I mean genuinely confident, not like a false sense of confidence. I'm going to share something that happened this past weekend. And I started crying afterwards because I really fell in love with myself all over again. I was at a red light. Where was I going? I was going to Target, of course. Who doesn't love a good Target run on the weekends? And there was this older gentleman who was homeless at the red light, and it was 92 degrees outside. Now, I don't have any money with me. I don't have any cash with me, but I rolled down my windows and I asked him how he was doing. I asked him, how are you bearing the heat? And he was like, it's just me, and I got my baby's mama at home, and he was talking to me about his family and what he's doing. And I said, and he was like, what are you doing today? And I was like, oh, I'm going to Target. I was just talking to him. I may never see him again. Probably will never see him again unless I'm at the same red light, stoplight, and he's there. But I just talked to him like a regular person, like a human being. Your ability to talk to human beings, no matter what they can do for you, and treat them with dignity and respect will exponentially increase your confidence. Now, I don't tell people about these encounters that I have because I do it for me. I roll down my window and I talk to people for the sake of just talking to them and connecting with them because I love human beings. I'm like shouting into the microphone right now, but I really need you to hear this. When is the last time you just talked to somebody? Just talk to them without giving them advice, without telling your whole life story, but just checked in and just, hey, how are you doing? How's your day going today? And genuinely just cared. That is what really just develops that feel good feeling. And when you feel good about how you treat others, when you feel good about how you show up, and you feel good about yourself, you actually start to get excited to get on camera. Because when you feel that good, nothing can get in your way. That momentum, unless you're the one who's sabotaging your own happiness, that momentum will take you so far. And so you're never going to hear me teaching you when it comes to camera confidence, lighting, hair, and makeup. You're not. I am going to talk to you about being able to talk to anyone about anything. I am going to tell you to check your judgments about other people and give people a shot. I am going to talk to you about having boundaries with yourself and with other people. I am going to talk to you about dropping into compassion rather than immediately reacting with judgment about other people and giving people a chance. But you want to know something? When you give, I'm not telling you to go back to abusive and toxic relationships. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't come at me with that and be like, oh, are you telling me to go back to my toxic ex? No, I'm not asking you to do that. What I am saying, though, is to allow yourself to be seen. Okay? Connect with other human beings. I learned that from my father. Who came here as an Indian immigrant. He was very insecure about himself because his name was Shanti Kumar, and he never thought anyone would want to hire him as a CPA. And there's a lot that I learned from him about how to be and how not to be. But let me tell you, the number one thing I learned from my father is to treat everybody with dignity. Everybody. And don't stoop down to anyone's level, right? If someone is going to talk to you in some mean and nasty kind of way, for me, do not ever want to get myself to get into that mode because it doesn't feel good for me. Now, there's a lot of people out there that's like, you got to fight back. Okay, I'm all for standing up for ourselves and having boundaries. But for my own energy and my peace of mind and my sanity, I have zero desire to feel like shit, especially if I can control it. And guess what? I can. I can control how I feel. And it all starts with the thoughts that I'm thinking, because the thoughts that I'm thinking directly affect my feelings. Right? And my feelings directly impact my reactions and my actions and how I feel and how I show up and my confidence. So I have an exercise for you, and it's really easy. It's super simple, right? Next time you go out of your house to run errands, next time you have to call the customer service number for AT&T or Sprint or whatever, or anyone, talk to the person that's on the other end. Talk to the person who's giving you your coffee, checking you out at the grocery store. Just have a conversation and just connect with people human to human, right? Because a lot of times entrepreneurs, they'll get into business. They'll start to look at every person as potential clients. Stop doing that. Stop looking at human beings like they're just dollar signs. People are people. They have hearts, they have souls, and your job, if you want to be a person of service and really help those in this lifetime, in your lifetime, then treat everybody with dignity and respect. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, there are going to be days where maybe someone pops off at you and you're going to want to react back, and you may react back. I would be lying if I said to you that I am always patient with every person that I meet. But I will say 9 out of 10 times, I treat everyone that I meet with dignity and respect. I care, I listen, and maybe that's the therapist training in me, but honestly, it's just how I was raised. I was raised to give people the benefit of doubt. I was raised to trust that, not everyone's out to screw me. And I was raised to feel confident in just talking to people and connecting with others. When I was a kid, my mom would take my sister and I back to India every year. And we would do what is called, it's translated in our language, a poor feeding. We do a feeding of the poor, right? So we would go to the nearby Hindu temple. We would order a bunch of food and they wrap it up in plantain leaves. And my mom would have us hand out the food to the people who were at the temples. And she always, the homeless people that were living there. And she always said to me, when you're feeding these people, ask them their name. Ask them how they're doing. Look at them in their eyes. That has had a direct impact on my self-esteem and my confidence. And I do shit that makes me feel good. And I'm not just talking about working out, getting my hair done, getting my nails done. That is all external. And while that matters, what really has contributed to my confidence and my self-esteem is how I can talk to anyone about anything. And that requires being present, and that requires being connected to yourself first and foremost. Be present with yourself, be connected with yourself, be honest with yourself. That makes you feel good. That makes you feel seen. And when you start to see yourself, you start to see others. Okay, and then a ripple effect happens. It's just a back and forth exchange of energy. I'm not saying for you to talk to every single homeless person that you meet at a red light, but are you the kind of person that if you see a homeless person, you look at them, do you smile, do you acknowledge their presence, or do you just look straight ahead and pretend that they go away and hope that they go away? It's really up to you to be honest with that question. But I'll tell you right now, being able to talk to anyone about anything, regardless of what they can do for you, will directly impact your ability to show up on camera confidently. So next time you step out of your house, next time you pick up the phone, next time you pass someone, if you're going for a walk, give a smile. Say hello. And once again, I'm going to say this because as women, we are constantly told to smile all the time and be happy. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking you to fake anything. But I do think that acknowledging the presence of another human being, you're sending that signal out into the universe that you see somebody. And when you are seeing someone, you're also allowing them to be seen, allowing yourself to be seen. And that's what this is all about. Camera confidence, it has nothing to do with lighting hair or makeup. It never will. Not in my world. That's if you want to come to me for help with lighting hair and makeup, I'm going to say you're talking to the wrong person. But if you want to come to me and get help on how to be more of you, how to be real, how to be genuine, how to be authentic, how to be able to confidently express your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions without worrying so much about the opinions of others, then you're in the right spot. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. We got a lot of good ways for you to be able to work on your self-expression, on your confidence, on your camera confidence. The first way is that you can check out the Real Rich membership community where we host 4 calls every month, and you can come to as many or as little calls as you want. But guess what? We're all on video and we're all showing up. And we're all supporting one another, and we're all allowing ourselves to be seen and talking about what's going on in our life, in our business, with our creativity. So that's one way. The second way is that you can get on the wait list for my Camera Confident Mastermind. I'm going to be running these every few months. So if you want to go ahead, apply for that. You can even watch the free masterclass replay that I did. You can go to vasavikumar.com/masterclass replay. Until next time, I see you, I hear you, I love you, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. Hey there, this is Vasavi, and my membership community, Real Rich, is the official sponsor of the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. Have you been looking for a community of people who get you, who think like you, and who are determined to becoming the person they were born to be? I'm talking no fluff, direct, real, and a raw community of people who are open-minded and willing to be honest with themselves and be the ultimate creators of their own life. Then I'm inviting you to join my subscription-based membership community, Real Rich, a community of women who are on a mission to get paid simply by showing up as their truest selves in business and in life. If you're looking for a community of women who you can turn to, seek insight from, and give back to, then try out the Real Rich community, because it is time to be you and get paid. Learn more by heading over to vasavikumar.com/membership. Here's to you being real rich. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Being Human with Vasavi podcast. If you got some golden nuggets from today's episode, which I have no doubt you did, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a heartfelt review. Want to take my free quiz on how well do you really know yourself? Head on over to vasavikumar.com/take the quiz. And remember, when you know yourself, you can be, do, and create anything you want. If you love today's episode, then say it out loud. Subscribe, leave a review, and come say hi over on Instagram at My Name is Vasavi. Until next time, say it out loud.